Happy Thursday, right here, Masked listeners. Joining us today is Marnely Murray. Marnely is a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America and worked as a sous chef and pastry chef for over a decade. As a food blogger on her blog, Cooking with Books, Marnely has developed a brand of over 50,000 followers on her social media platforms. Now she's devoted solely to working as a marketing consultant on Martha's Vineyard with her company, Short Up Digital, that she runs with her business partner, Angela Prout. Their clients consist of brands based on Martha's Vineyard and throughout New England, as well as national food brands. Marnely, welcome to the show.
I am so happy to be here, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Please share more about you and what you do with our listeners.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, and we were talking a little bit about it before we started recording, but I, by trade, am a pastry chef, and I was a pastry chef for 12 years. This is my 13th year on the Vineyard and my first summer that I am not full-time in the kitchen or in the kitchen at all. So I am fully immersed in our digital marketing business that I manage and co-founded with my business partner, Angela Prout. So it is going to be a summer. I mean, here we're talking about things in Massachusetts, and we know how seasonal locations like Martha's Vineyard are. So we're definitely getting into our busy season, and I'm just excited to be able to attend events that I haven't been able to attend in the summer because I typically work nights. I find myself at like the local West Tisbury Farmers Market on a Saturday, and I'm like, this is like the best thing ever because I'm not in the kitchen. So as much as I loved baking, I am very excited to be able to enjoy summer on Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, I can imagine. And for listeners who might not have heard of Short Up Digital yet, could you talk more about what your company is and what it offers?
Yeah, so we are a digital marketing agency based on Martha's Vineyard, and we provide services from as simple as writing a press release for your business to full hands-on managing your social media. So we manage accounts, obviously, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We dabble a little bit in Pinterest, and we do manage a couple of TikToks. We also create websites. We do a lot of copywriting because the Vineyard being such a place that is so traveled to, we try to create as many resources for the traveler as we can. So consistently, most of our businesses are kind of like in the hospitality industry. So we try to provide resources and value in terms of information for our client websites. And then the last thing we focus on is food photography, which I am the lead photographer at Short Up Digital. And we will always, we have a lot of restaurant clients, and photography is key. It's the way that it draws people in the door. So making sure that our clients have great photography, food photography is essential to maintaining, a nice, clean social media feed. So that kind of gives you the range of the businesses that we cover, that we service, the services that we have. Not only, I would say about 80% of our clients are on the Vineyard. We do have clients on the Cape, and throughout Massachusetts and a couple of other New England states. So with everything, after COVID hit and the development of Zoom and the remote work, we're happy, to help anyone within the area.
Absolutely. And I think it's wonderful that you really are a full service agency providing a whole depth of services that you're able to really support and provide value to your clients. And so, do you find that your clients invest in multiple services, or do they kind of tend to focus on one? What does that typically look like?
It varies from client to client. We have clients that we are their sole, digital marketing agency, and we do everything from graphic designs for postcards, for rack cards, to develop their website, to also manage their social media accounts. But like at the same part, we also have clients that only reach out to us for audits. We offer a service that is basically we'll audit your digital footprint and give you a 10-page PDF of everything that we see, what you could be doing better, and then best practices. So that's like kind of like our initial service versus a full-on service that we manage, and we become like your in-house marketing department, but from the comfort of my own home.
I love that. And especially with the audit, once people receive that, they're like, okay, I didn't know that there's 6,000 things I'm not doing that I should be doing. And so it's helpful to have that.
That's the funny piece about the audit is that people are like, nope, we don't want you don't manage anything. We will do it on our own. Just give us an audit. And then they get this 12-page PDF and they're like, oh no, wait, how much did you say you charge? Because we'll figure it out. Because they just had no idea of everything they needed to like be at the best of their potential on social.
Exactly. And so let's talk more about the food photography aspect because, like you mentioned, you work with a lot of different restaurants, which is really exciting. And so I'd love to hear kind of your process of knowing the visual assets to take, how you can repurpose them and use them across all different types of mediums, and really how it's so beneficial to any type of company to invest in stuff like that.
Yeah. So my food photography, I would say experience comes from, first of all, having a food blog.
Mm,
So I've had cookingwithbooks.net for about 11 years now. And I've worked with a ton of national brands, everything from like Sabra hummus, Cabot cheese, King Arthur flour, and developing recipes really harness the practice makes progress is what I would say. I didn't go to school for photography, so I learned as I went. And so what I try to kind of get a sense of when we go into a restaurant is definitely I'm looking at the menu. I'm looking at what we're trying to showcase. How is the restaurant? Is the restaurant a moody place? Is it a fun, outdoorsy kind of vibe? So trying to recreate that vibe that people would get in person, kind of have that. So as you're scrolling the feed, you're like, oh, this place looks like a speakeasy versus, oh, this place looks like a beach shack. And, I could show up in my flip-flops. So we really want to recreate that experience online. And for food photography, the process is very simple. I shoot all in natural light. So I'm trying to capture the best light possible. And so we take from there, I'll show up. It'll basically be me and an assistant. Either Angela comes with me or we have someone else that helps. And we'll shoot food like for a good 4.5 hours. Depending on the restaurant, we will have like typically the person that comes with me will be my hand model. It's funny because I'll always like bring clip-on nails, press on nails. So people can just like, I need someone to like reach with 2 fingers. I only see these 2 fingers. I need 2 nails on that. And we kind of work around, we make it really simple. The chefs know, I've gotten good at kind of guiding the chef in a sense and this is the thing where being a chef myself kind of helps me know the personalities that I'm dealing with, because we know that
right.
obviously chefs aren't the easiest people to try to like control so much. But, I try to tell them if there is a sauce, just give me the sauce on the side so I could pour it before I take the photo so it doesn't sit too long.
Mm.
I've had chefs that will send out 10 dishes at the same time. And I'm like, no, let's just take it 3 dishes at a time, because I do want to, at the end, shoot like a tablescape, but I need the food to look as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
But it's super fun. It's truly just like one of my favorite things to do, because once I see that product and I see it online and people love it, typically, people just love seeing food on social, and it draws. Food is like the biggest clickbait, I would say.
Yeah, especially because with it being so visual and like you mentioned with you managing a lot of Instagram accounts, I mean, that's what people notice first on the platform is the visual. So being able to get hooked on this drool-worthy food or meal or drink, whatever it is that they're seeing, I think is great and especially helpful for being able to hook in those potential customers.
Yeah. And I think it's really like, so as the platforms have evolved, we've also obviously with the photo shoot now comes the fact that we're taking video content to put together reels,
Mm.
and TikTok. So alongside with the food photography piece, we're also grabbing videos on our phones that we can then, reproduce as reels or as just Instagram stories to keep those pieces of the platform active as well.
Yes, absolutely. And with taking all of these visual assets, how do you find ways to repurpose them? So not only just across the different social media platforms, but even other forms of marketing and being able to get as much use out of them as possible.
Yeah. So I love that. It's like, for the best example is what you're doing here right now is it is a podcast that you also use as a video for your YouTube channel. I think that's super smart. I think what we do, obviously we'll take the food photos. It's the initial piece when someone hires us, when a restaurant hires us, right? So that is the piece that we need to move forward with social. And that's obviously the first place that will be placed is the photos on feeds. Then we'll create the videos for the reels. Then those photos can be used for newsletters. Then those photos can also be used to send out a press release to the media. We'll create albums on Facebook, but trying to diversify and like extend that content and weave it into different ways is definitely key because we want to get the most use out of it.
Absolutely. And with the, as we mentioned, like before we started recording, for listeners right now, we're recording in the middle of June. So, pretty much getting into the busy season of the Cape and the Islands. So, what's your advice for businesses who are more seasonal for being able to manage that ebb and flow with their overall business and marketing in terms of having really busy seasons compared to having the off season or a slower period of time where there might not be as busy?
Yeah, I think what I try to tell our clients right now is you're going to be very busy. And typically so the seasonality of it is normally the same. So if you're hosting these annual events, make sure that if it's in July, take a moment to capture these events, because you don't want this to be 2024 and be like, oh, I got to promote the Strawberry Festival, for example, and I forgot to take any content or photos for the Strawberry Festival. So if you know the Strawberry Festival is coming up, have either a point person on your staff that can capture that content so that you have this for, following years. So I feel like that is first and foremost. And I also, we try to tell our clients a lot is you don't have to do everything, but you have to at least try to capture the content, right? So documenting your day to day. Oh, people will be like, it's so boring. No one wants to see me shipping out packages. No one wants to see me harvesting water from the ocean to get salt. And I'm like, well, of course, people do want to see that, because your day to day might seem boring to you, but to other people, it's like incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it also helps to build that know, like, and trust factor when you get to show the behind the scenes of a business or the working of a business. And especially because I say people are nosy. And so they just
Yeah.
love to see what's going on.
It truly is the thing that whenever we post anything that's behind the scenes, the content just is it's highly engaged, and the audience is just very active. And it's good when that happens and we can get it, because it's proof to the clients that this actually does work. We have clients that don't like to show face much, but then we do post their headshot, obviously approved by them. And it gets hundreds of comments because they're like, oh, this is actually a face behind this brand. And so it gives them that reassurance, and that the fact that the brand is an approachable brand, that is a human brand.
Exactly. And it goes to show that not everything has to be a sale. I
No.
always say that, like with my own content, which you'll probably notice since we follow each other on Instagram, but a lot of the stuff I share in my stories are the most recent books that I'm reading. And that content is what skyrockets compared to
Yeah.
anything else. It's the content that I get the most replies on. And it's because it's a really good bonding moment ultimately, and people kind of get to see what you're doing and who you are and what your interests are, and it helps to really build that relationship, which can do a lot for your overall business growth.
I completely agree. Like the things that I see that resonate with people are wild. Like I just had someone a year later posted on a shop, because last year I bought a pair of jeans at this local shop called Katie Did in Edgartown. And I was looking for a white pair of jeans. I found them there. I posted about it. I raved about it in my regular stories. Nothing about social media or like managing clients. And it's the longevity of content like that, is that because it connected me as a human and like that relatability, this woman went and bought these white jeans at that same shop because she recalled that I suggested it and like loved them so much. So I really think that that gives you a little peek inside what the consumer wants.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
love that. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that I myself as a marketer can find is like a little bit challenging is getting businesses to understand why they still need to invest in their marketing when things are slower. If anything, you need your marketing even more during that time period.
Yes.
And so what would you say about that, and how you kind of help to educate the businesses that you work with on the Cape and Islands on why they really need to continue your services throughout the year?
I think though what we always tell clients is think like you're the consumer. So when people aren't planning their trips to Martha's Vineyard in July, it's not happening. They're already here. So they're
Mm.
planning these trips January through April. They're planning these trips November through, May. So if you're not showing up on social during the months that they're planning, they're not going to easily find you. Yes, of course, having a website is fantastic and obviously needed in 2023. But we definitely see this a lot happen with clients that are seasonal or they're closed for the season. And they will just stop the service and then re-up in June or July. So basically what we try to offer them is a very reduced rate to keep the account active with at least one post a week.
Mm.
So even if you're closed, let's remind people that Murdoch's Fudge still obviously is online. You can buy it 24/7. Making sure that if you don't have an online shop, it's at the top of people's, awareness, because they're writing itineraries. I field so much content on my own personal accounts of, people setting up bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, and they'll reach out to me and, oh, I can't find this restaurant. Are they closed? Like, are they going to be closed in June? So I have to then, guide them in a sense of like, no, they're just, temporarily closed, but this and this and that. So staying active, I think year round, is key. And we try to like not even call it the off season. More so it's like the insider season. Like if you're
Mm.
here in, September, October, November, you're part of that insider crowd because you know that the fall honestly is the best time in New England.
Yes, I love that. And I can imagine probably too encouraging your clients to plan things specifically during the slower times of year. Like, for example, a few years ago, I ran the half marathon on Martha's Vineyard that happens right before Memorial Day. And so I think that's an example of a great way to get people onto the island before things really start to get busy and give them the opportunity to experience local businesses and just support the economy overall that way.
Yeah, it's funny. I just attended that. I didn't run it, but a friend's husband was running it. And I just saw that for the first time. And I'm like, the amount of activations that we could actually, because little do people know is that the race isn't put on by a company on the vineyard. It's put on by like some other company somewhere else. And the vineyard is just the location for it. But yes, I love that race brings like 2,000, 3,000 people to the island before
Yeah.
the island is really busy at all. So it is a great way to capture people. And so that's what we're trying to do, is finding shoulder events that can extend that shoulder season a little bit more.
I love that, which makes me think of another question too, is just one thing I see you always doing with both Short Up Digital and your clients is looking for like joint marketing opportunities or joint collaborations. And so I'd love to hear more about how you've executed that for both yourself and your clients and really have it be mutually beneficial.
Yeah. So I think we always remind clients that the word social media, the media is there. Like you are obviously posting the posts, you're doing the videos, you're sending the press releases, but it's the social piece of social media that's important. So building that social community is key. So part of our services and obviously included in everyone that we manage social for is engagement. So, and
Mm.
as you know, obviously that's really where the work is done, is when you are responding to comments and going out there and seeking out to comment on other people's accounts on behalf of your client, right? So let's say, for example, as Visit Martha's Vineyard, one of our client accounts, we're going through the Martha's Vineyard hashtag, making sure that we're commenting on people that are traveling here that obviously, might not be influencers, might not be content creators, but they're still travelers spending money on the island. We're making sure that we're thanking them for posting. We're making sure that, we're responding to when they ask for where's the best ice cream, where's the best place to get, a surfboard. So we're actively being as social as we can on the internet. So we want to be like, I'm a very social person in person. I want to be as social online. And so with those collaborations and partnerships, because we do have a large roster of clients, and I think that is one of the biggest benefits of working with Short Up Digital, is that when you become a client, that client becomes part of that network of collaborations and partnerships
Yes.
that we then can extend. So like, for example, you have this podcast and it's focused on Massachusetts, right? So after we're done with this, I'm sending this link to all of our clients and seeing who else wants to be on this podcast, because it's a great opportunity for them to get exposure. But, I'm not sending this to the entire island of Martha's Vineyard. I'm sending it to our client network. And that's part of the benefit of being a client of Short Up, is that you have, the access to everything that we do. We're writing, I would say like a dozen newsletters right now for clients. And so let's say if we're writing a newsletter for a hotel client and we have a couple of restaurant clients, we're making sure that our restaurant clients are being showcased in the hotel newsletters that we're writing, if it makes sense. We're not pushing
Yeah.
things just to push them, but there are so many ways to weave things. Because at the end of the day, like, it is a social media manager that's behind that account. We've started working a lot with Visit Massachusetts, and they're fantastic. The company Think Argus is great. And knowing that there is a person behind that account, that it's not just, the mayor of Massachusetts, it's really a person that's there. Developing those relationships, I think, is like the biggest value of being a client of ours.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because with all the businesses that you know and the people that you have within your network, I mean, it's just so natural when you're speaking with clients to say, oh, I have the perfect opportunity for you. Like, here's a great idea. Let's do this. And I think that's great. And it provides so much value to them because they're
Yeah.
able to, I don't want to necessarily say take advantage of, but really leverage the
Yeah.
audience that you have.
And honestly, and that was something that we thought about so we've been in business for 5 years now. And I think year 3, we noticed the potential and the value of that network. And obviously, as millennials trying to, retire sometime, not when we're 80. So we're trying to make that money, right? So we were
Yeah.
like, wait 1 second, how are we going to monetize like the value of the relationships that we have personally developed throughout the years? I've been here 13 years. Angela's been here 9 years. And so what we do is we created a service called localized PR. So basically it's a retainer fee, and there is no exact thing we will do for you. So basically it is just that when opportunities come through our door, like our inbox, you will be top of mind because you've paid for this retainer. So we know that if we get a journalist looking for top candy shops on Martha's Vineyard, we're recommending the Fudge. And if you're looking for hotels, we're recommending the Hobnob. So the localized PR service that we offer, it's a minimal fee. It's a retainer that it's, a couple $100, but, we're sending out press releases and people will think, well, I don't have anything new. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have. So that's kind of like a service that we said, how do we monetize our network and our relationships that we're not just sending intros out for free?
I was just gonna say, I think that's a great idea because yes, it's great to help people, but eventually it gets to the point you're like, okay, well now I'm giving all this stuff away, and
Yeah.
even though
And
I'm
it's
happy to help, I don't want to keep
exactly.
doing
It's like that. It becomes like the referral thing. It's like someone the
Yes.
other day asked us, they're like, oh, do you know a web guy? And, 4 years ago, I would have been like, yes, contact this and this. Verbally, I would say it. And so it happened to me last week. And I said, oh, definitely. I will send you an email intro to Matt and Curtis that are our web referral guys. So because I already have a referral system set up with Matt and Curtis where they know that we get 10% of whatever client projects we send their way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm no longer like vocalizing referrals. I'm making sure there is a paper trail so that I can get paid.
Yes, which is a smart idea. And then it also benefits both people because now you're providing value to your client who's looking for that service and you're giving someone a client themselves.
Exactly.
Awesome. I'd love to hear more about your lead generation strategy in terms of getting new clients. Do you, because you support so many local businesses. We talked about this before we had started recording, but do you kind of do that naturally where you might support a local business and say, by the way, here's what I do? Or does it kind of depend on the
Yes.
situation?
So we're super blessed in the sense that we aren't actively reaching out to get new clients. And I say that like we obviously are open to as many new clients as possible that we can like manage and still be the best we can be. But I started doing this other thing was I find myself going into shops. I'm all about supporting local. And I will buy something and I'll take a photo and I'll say, gee, what's your Instagram account? And at that point, they'll be like, oh, I haven't started one. I don't even have a website. And that's where the short of digital spiel
Smart.
comes out. And we have gotten, dozens of clients like that. So now I stopped spending my own money when I buy these like little tchotchkes at stores. I spend short of digital money. It becomes an expense because it becomes a business expense because it is like a lead generation to a possible new client. Angela has done that a ton as well. It basically becomes just like organic part of our lives. Like we are community members that are consistently supporting businesses. So by the shopping, it leads us to knowing if they are active on social, need any digital marketing help. And then that kind of full circle comes in. Here's my card. Email us if you need anything. They'll see the post that I share on social. They'll be reminded, oh, that's that woman that came in. And then they'll email us.
Yeah. And I can imagine that obviously with the clients that you work with, that's social proof. So if someone visits a restaurant and they're like, I found this restaurant because I loved your Instagram account, then such an easy way for them to be like, well, it's Short Up Digital who does that.
Yeah. And honestly, I wish consumers spoke that out loud more because
Yeah.
it would give us more proof. But it comes down to like that ROI when clients are like, well, how do I know that this is working? It's working because it builds your brand. brand
Yes.
awareness. So, it's like, for example, I can prove to you that how many people saw this post and how many people liked this post, and how many eyes saw it. And so sometimes I like to kind of talk back to clients in a sense of like, do you ask this of when you put an ad in the paper? Like the paper can't tell you in print, obviously digitally it can, but in print, the paper can't tell you how much reach that ad got because they are not tracking eyeballs, right?
Right.
So we do what we can with what we have with like the insights, but at the same time, I think it's overall brand awareness. I
Mm-hmm.
always remind people, well, people are like, well, do we really need social? And I'm like, well, Gucci and Tesla don't, and they're still on Facebook and Instagram. So
Exactly. That's a great example. And you're
yeah,
exactly right, too, with the fact that it's overall brand awareness, especially with the fact that there's people who are lurkers who might not even engage with your content, but they're seeing all of it and then acting upon it when they're ready. And so I think that as a marketer, that can be a little bit frustrating to educate people on and educate clients on is the fact that you can't really find that direct sales line and it might take a year or even longer than that for the sale to happen, but it does so much in the long run for you.
I agree. I agree. And it's the big piece is that education to the client. But it feels so good when someone does go in and says, I came in because I saw this on Facebook or Instagram. We just had and our clients are good at telling us when it does happen. One of
Oh,
our
I
rental
love that.
clients told us like, ladies, you posted this rental house on Monday and like Monday night it was rented out because she said she saw it on Facebook.
Oh, that's
And,
amazing.
and that's a big buy. It's like these houses are
Yes.
renting for $10,000 a week. And for that one Facebook post to have, engaged the consumer so quickly is amazing.
Right. And especially because the client's probably looking at it at that as, okay, I can get like a few months out of marketing out of that
Yeah,
money that I just made. So it's
exactly.
great to see the return in that aspect.
Exactly.
And one thing that I always see you up to on Instagram is always juggling all these different client visits. So going to events and going to take shoots for them and just being able to have that in-person component. And I'm so curious to hear how you find that balance in your workload between sitting down and doing the work, but then also making the time for having those face-to-face conversations and meetings and things that need to happen.
Yeah. So we're very productive in the sense of like if we work from our homes, right? In separate
Mm,
homes, right? So if we are leaving our homes, we make sure that the productivity is at top level. So we make like a meeting day in the week, and that's when we have 7 meetings. I'm not leaving my house 7 times a week to do 7 meetings, right? I want them all in one day. Um, it's better because first of all, the traffic and the parking is insane here. I don't drive.
yeah.
So here's the other piece is like, I don't care about the parking. But my business partner, who's also our designated driver, she's like, we're not going to do all these things if it makes no sense. So we're sitting down in one coffee shop and people are coming in and out, and we 45
Smart.
minutes. And I'm not sat. And this is the best part about the having a business partner is that it's the balance of personalities too. Like if she was here, you would get it. But she is the one that does the small talk because I'm not here for small talk ever. So I want to like just keep it
You're like,
going.
I'm here to get the job done.
I'm here to get the job done. Give me the info. Like, great that you went on vacation to the Amalfi Coast. Love you for it. But like, what are we talking about here? Um,
Yeah.
so the balance with that is we try to make sure that if we are having in-person meetings, they all stick to one day.
Mm.
And then we've slowly started to move away from us both being at meetings because it is a lot of commitment, right? And
Yeah.
time wise, it's a lot of money for both of us to be at a 45-minute meeting, right? So we have started taking on just either Zooms or, meetings in person separately, just because it makes the most sense. We can capture a lot more people like that. And it depends also. There are some clients that we want to both see at the same time. But overall, we try to just tackle what we can in the time that we kind of allocate for that. Angela and I both like work very different schedules at times. So, I'm a morning person. She can work through the night and into the night. And I
Oh
am like,
God,
I
no.
don't know. But I mean, props to her. Like it's wild to see. But so we try to like balance it out and truly like be very aware of what we're taking on. Especially
Mm,
now, like the fact that I don't have a restaurant job does mean that I have a lot of time available, but at the same time, I don't want to fill my every day with work.
right. Right. And I think you hit the nail on the head by really having those clear expectations of what's happening during the meetings and if both of you need to go or not. And I'm glad that you brought up Angela because I always love speaking to business owners who have a co-founder because I think it's so interesting just to hear about the workload and the relationship and dynamics and stuff like that. And so I'd love to hear kind of what your role is within Short Up Digital and then how Angela complements that with her responsibilities.
Oh, I will rave till the cows come home about having a business partner if you have, of course, the right business partner. So
Mm.
Angela and I met when she was my editor. I used to be the food writer for the Martha's Vineyard Times, and she romanticizes this story. And she were here, she would say it much better. But basically, she's like, Marnely used to be my most reliable writer and photographer because I would deliver the piece with the photos, everything. She barely had to edit it, and it was always, ahead of time of delivery time, right? So within that relationship, we kind of got to know our work habits and things like that. And one day I approached her and I was like, do you know anyone that wants to start a digital marketing company? And she's like, I don't know. And she was actually at work at the time. And she's like, let me talk to you about this later. And she, in her head, she's like, I have probably 10 hours a week that I can dedicate to this. She, by trade, is also a barber and hairstylist. So she was
Oh my
working at
gosh, I
a
never knew that.
barbershop. So she was working at a barbershop at the time. So she's like, oh, sure, I have 10 hours a week to dedicate to this like random digital marketing. Little did she know it would be like 100 hours a week now. So the way we delineate projects and how we take things on is basically obviously your skill set. So Angela is the one that will create websites. Angela does a lot of the writing newsletters, right? And we used to kind of tackle clients together. Like if it was a hotel client, I would do the social, she would do the newsletter. So then we started realizing that it didn't make a lot of sense to do that. So if I took on a client, I would take the social and the newsletter and would do both. So
Mm-hmm.
now we divide it by clients, and it's basically just a comfortable conversation where we're like, do you feel comfortable taking on this client, time management wise and knowledge wise? Like, do you know this client? So when we took on like visit North of Boston, visit Metro West Boston, she knows the area a lot more than I do. So she took on those clients. She does the social piece for them. She does a newsletter piece for them. She does the copywriting for them. I focus a lot on the social media piece. So I'm doing reels for every single one of our clients. So I supplement their content that they're scheduling, as well as like my own. And then social piece, the food photography side is all mine. I edit all the photos. And so at the beginning of our business, we looked at what the big services that we offered were: social media management, copywriting, newsletters, web development, food photography. And we thought, how do we divide this financially? Are
Mm.
we getting paid for the work that we do specifically, or are we doing this split down the middle? I said, if you want to every month do the math on what I did and what you did, and then kind of like allocate the funds, go ahead. You spend your time doing that. And she, and at the end of the day, we're like, no, we'll just divide it equally, 50-50. And there are months that Angela does a lot more work than I do. And there are months that I do a lot more work than Angela does. And at the end of the day, it evens out.
Yeah.
My brother passed away, in September. And those 3 months, I can say I barely worked, and Angela did so much. So when life happens, the co-founder piece is very important. I don't know how people do it without it. Angela, a couple of years ago, she bought an RV, and she would take RV trips. And so, in those whatever 6 weeks she was away, I was, manning everything because, we deserve vacations and we deserve time off. So we kind of like balance it out. We really are very religious with our Google calendars. We block out
Mm.
times that we're going to be traveling. We plan for it. So it really, at the end of the day, it is divided evenly, like financially. And I only see that really working with people that you can trust a lot,
Right.
because she's trusting me and I'm trusting her to divide this equally, right? And that at the end of the day, the work that we're both doing makes sense. We do have a couple of other people on staff that I don't obviously don't want to not mention. Amber, who is full-time with us. So Amber schedules a ton of client content. And so she's doing that piece. We have Angela's sister that also, she's out of California, and she's our engagement director. So basically she replies to a lot of comments, a lot of questions that we get on all the accounts. And then we have one other person, Maddie, and she writes a couple of blogs for us. So we kind of like, we're women kind of surrounded. And we try to like make sure that if we do have a lot of work, we're referring work to each other.
Yes.
But the co-founder piece, like, so do you, is your business is you're the sole proprietor?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and I wonder about like people like you, like, how do you find time to like take a break?
Yeah, thankfully I do have a team. So that
Okay.
is helpful in that sense because when it was just me, it was impossible. And then
Yeah.
especially like having just one person, you get to the point where you reach a ceiling where you physically cannot take on anything else because you don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
And so just being able to have additional people to help out can allow you to do so much more, which is great.
Yes.
And I love that you mentioned that you and Angela split it 50-50 because even though like you might do more client work one month, I imagine she's probably doing more like admin stuff that month and it ends up balancing
Oh,
out in that aspect.
yes. Let's not forget about the admin work that she does, all our admin work. Like, catch me. I only know our FreshBooks password because it's in a document in Google Drive. And I had to go in the other day. A client was like, can you fix this invoice for me? And Angela was away. Oh my goodness. And I was like, 1 second, I'm not going to ask her how to do this. I can do this on my own. You are a big girl, Marnely. And I looked up our FreshBooks password that I had no idea what it was. And it was saved because she is so good at saving things. And I went in and I did it. And I said, and I then messaged her and I said, hey, so-and-so client asked for this edit on the invoice. And she's like, and you did it? And I'm like, I'm a big girl. So she does all of our admin work. Like she invoices all of our clients. So it's the funny piece is, so we still, it's 2023, but we get checks in the mail and it's not like all electronic.
Love checks.
So yes. And so the checks come to my PO box, right? And so I tell her, I'm like, don't worry, girl, I will open all the envelopes for you so that you just have to take these little photos or like, like, don't worry about paper cuts. I am opening the envelope for you. And she's like, you really don't have to. I said, I feel really happy. And like, I feel like I'm bringing something to the table when I open these checks for you. So let me just do it. So yeah, she does all of our admin work. She deals with our taxes. Like she shows up to our tax lady with a P&L report. And I show up with like a shoebox of like receipts for my business, for like my blog business and our tax. I'm like, I'm paying my tax lady to do my taxes. I'm not making it easy on her. But Angela, absolute saint. She's very,
I love that. I
no, and
love
you
that.
need that in like a business partner. It's like a marriage, honestly. Like they're
Seriously.
just a little bit like I am, fun and flirty, and Angela, she's fun and flirty, but she can get down to business.
I love that. And
Yeah.
it seems like just from what I've seen on social media that you two also make sure to have time as friends and kind of outside of like the business partner roles, which I think is important too in that a relationship like that.
Yeah, we definitely, I mean, we should do more of it. But it's definitely super important for us. Like we will be walking around town eating ice cream and in our head, we're thinking someone's like narrating and they would be like, oh, there go Marnely and Angela. They have nothing to do today. We're hustling and we're doing so much work, but like we just shot these ice creams, then now we have to eat it. We have to eat it. But we do try to make some time as friends. It's funny because we both work from home. And so when we do get the chance to like either be together to do a little work, she'll come over to my house normally and she will look at me and be like, how do you get work done? Because she shows up and I'm like a puppy dog. I'm like, oh my God, look at this TikTok. Oh, look at this TikTok. Look at this reel. Look at this. Look at this. And she's like, we're here to work. And I'm like, and I am very distracted with having this person in my home. So I have to tell you everything that's around me.
That's so funny. That's so
Yeah.
funny. I feel like we've
I
mentioned
mean,
so many.
so much so that I have a fidget spinner on my desk at all
Oh my
times
gosh.
because
I have a few clients who have that too because it helps with meetings and whatnot and just kind of staying on
it
track.
does. Yeah, it really does.
I love that. I feel like we've mentioned so many local businesses throughout this episode, and now I'd love to hear what your favorite local businesses are to support.
Yeah. So obviously, because I'm a foodie, lots of restaurants are, come top of mind. But in terms of the clients I'll separate this by clients that I love. Let's make sure I'm wording this correct. Not that I love the most, but what I enjoy the most doing, I would say, is anything tourism driven. So visit Martha's Vineyard, visit north of Boston, and visit Metro West are three of like our very destination heavy clients that we love to work with because it encompasses everything from like hotels and dining and events. So that's the really fun part. But then outside of our client list, I'm always looking to support restaurants. So I recently discovered this new restaurant. It's called Midnight Taco, and it's in Oak Bluffs. And I posted about it that they do these like really good burrito bowls. On Martha's Vineyard, we don't have Chipotle. So it's like an elevated Chipotle, which I adore. And I love Moe's. There's a really fantastic, when are you coming for us to do like a little culinary Martha's Vineyard trip, actually?
I know. Actually, I will be on the Vineyard in September for a wedding, but I definitely need to plan another trip just to
Yeah.
explore with you.
Yes. So the last favorite business that I love to support is called Moe's Lunch, and they are also in Oak Bluffs. They're located at the PA Club, and it is just like they make the most incredible sandwiches. And here's the thing, like at the end of the day, like I'm supporting people, yes, because they have good food, but also I'm supporting the people. So I want the people behind the counter. I want to be supporting kind owners, kind chefs, like people that I see that also put that work back into the community. So when I see restaurants and businesses that are really giving back to the community, like if I see them being involved in other things that are not just their own business,
Mm.
I'm more than happy to then support them even more.
I love that. And there's so many studies out there that show that when you support a local business, how much it really ends up impacting that local economy and how much goes back into that economy.
Yeah, it truly is like wild to see that full circle happen, because it does make a difference. And again, it's the social piece of social media. We always say, a rising tide lifts all boats,
Mm-hmm.
community over competition. Like they're cliche little things to say, but at the end of the day, it's truly what our business is built on, is that local community trust and like being able to be there for businesses. Obviously we're here to make money, but at the end of the day, like half of our time is sometimes spent giving away free services because we want to sit and talk. And again, I know I said I don't like small talk, but we want to like get to know your business. And it is
Yes.
a big part of our job. And even if we're not going to be the help that you need right now, it could be the help you need in a year or two, or we can refer to other freelancers that do just as great of a job. I mean, not as great, um, but great jobs that we can spread the love. So I think the community base, especially in seasonal places in towns, I've never lived in a place like this, that is so community driven and that people know you so much. Like it's so nice, it's heartfelt, it really just moves you to live in a place where people actually care.
Yes, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Marnely, this has been such an awesome episode, and I really loved learning more about you and Short Up Digital beyond what I've already seen online. And I'd love if you could share with our listeners where they can find you in case they'd like to connect with you further.
Yeah. So obviously you can find us at shortupdigital.com and that same name. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can find me personally at Marnely_Murray on Instagram. If you're ever coming to the Vineyard, definitely reach out to me because I have a full foodie itinerary for anyone and everyone. And yeah, we're always online. We are trying to be, like I said, a community resource.
Love it. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for coming on the show. And I will be sure to link to all those spots that you listed so that way people can click through and connect with you from there.
Thank you so much for having me.